So let's start off. Now, always better when you're in a laying position to lay with your feet flat on the floor. It helps you to keep this kind of neutral spine here. When you take the legs out flat, tend to arch a little bit more through the back because of the weight of the legs. So obviously mattresses these days and ergonomics of mattresses mean that we can sleep with our legs out without any real issue on the lower back. But if you've ever had to sleep on a floor, which I have done, went on a trip to Thailand, I spent 3 nights just sleeping on a wooden floor, you soon realise how bad it is for your back with your legs extended. Now let's bring the hands down to the side here. So from here we're going to start off just moving through the shoulders and the hips. So let's start with the legs. So you're going to keep a right angle in the knee as you lift the right knee up here and then come all the way back down, and then the same to the left. So try to keep this neutral spine position as you lift. So what we mean by that is there's a gap here between your mat and your back, and that really the position of this lumbar spine here doesn't move. So you need to draw in through the core here. It might come down a little bit closer to the mat, but it doesn't arch. Good, so just pedaling those knees up here. Now we're going to add a little bit of arm movement. So when you bring the right knee up, lift the left arm up here. Good, so just bringing the wrist up over the shoulder. Good, so we talk a lot about planes of movement. So if you think about when we walk or when we run, we are largely moving through one plane of movement, okay, what we call frontal or sagittal, where we're just going forwards. But to really optimise efficiency of our body and to help stop ourselves from getting injured, we need to take the body through different planes of motion. So that's when we add into joint movement things like circles and that kind of thing. Good. So from here, bringing that, let's come back up to the right leg, left arm here, and then we're going to lengthen away. Come all the way back and lower down. Same again to the other side, lengthen. Now if you're still just waking up, maybe bringing the shoulder, the arm all the way back might take a few repetitions. So ease into it. If you've got sort of stiffness in the shoulders, just ease into it. Good, so sending the arm a little bit, leg back. Again, try to keep this neutral spine so you're not arching through the back. Good, so let's just take one more to each side here. Good, now from here you're going to bring the right knee, left arm back up, and then you're going to bring the other arm, other leg up here, so you're in tabletop. Now here you're going to need to squeeze the bottom of your ribs down to your pelvis, because now we need a little bit more support into the back. So from here you're going to send the right leg away and then the left arm away. Same as we did before, but just with the legs up. And then again over to the other side. So you're going to feel this in your core now as the arm and leg, the weight of the arm and leg create resistance for the core. And what you notice is you feel it right the way throughout. So all the way round the back, through the obliques. Good. So nice and controlled. Try and exhale on the extension here as you extend the arm and leg away. Good, last one. Good, and then bring everything back down to the floor. Good, so just find that neutral spine again. Now lift the arms up. So from here, we're going to circle the palms in towards each other here. So start off with kind of small circles, about side plate size, and then slowly start to increase the size of your circles. Good. So making them bigger, as big as you feel comfortable really. I've got the wall in the way a little bit here, but you might end up bringing the arms all the way down, round and up. Of course, if you can get them all the way to the floor, up and over, you're going to get the absolute maximum movement here into the shoulders. Good. Can't show you as well on my right arm because the wall's in the way. Good, but just taking the arms all the way through here. Good. Now from here, we're going to change direction. So come back here again. Start with your dinner plates or your side plate size circles. So circling the arms away from each other now, and then evolving into dinner plate size, depending on how big a dinner you have. And then slowly start to increase. Opening up into the chest as well, particularly as you take the arms out to the side. You're going to start to open up into the pectorals and into the shoulders. And then start as big as you can now, all the way around. Seems like such an easy movement, and it is, unless you've got any shoulder issues, but it's just so good for the shoulders. You know, and obviously if you do feel any pain or discomfort, then reduce the size or stop. Good. So come all the way back here, rest the arms back down, and then here we're going to send the right leg up here. Now, ideally you want the leg straight, but if you can't get the leg straight, just lower the leg down. Try not to kind of be up here with this knee bent, okay? Take the leg a little bit lower down so you can straighten the leg. Now again here, ribs to pelvis connection, so we've got that stable back position on the mat. And then imagine you've got a pencil sticking out of your big toe, and just as we did with the arms, now we're going to circle into the hips. So drawing circles on the ceiling. Again, starting off with dinner plate size and slowly getting a little bit bigger. Now, obviously a little bit different with the hips. We've got this leg here in the way. Now you can lengthen the leg away flat to the floor, but it might make the pelvis a little bit unstable. So just see how you go. Good. Now really focus as well on getting the leg back, opening up down into the back of the leg here, into the hamstrings and the posterior chain. Good, now let's circle the other way. So again, start small. Now you might notice that your hip flexors, your quads fatigue a little bit. But try to keep going if you can. If you need to stop, then do. Good, nice and big now, starting to increase, but keeping the pelvis still. So what we mean is that this hip here shouldn't keep lifting and lowering off the floor, should be still. Shouldn't be rocking around through the pelvis. Good. Hold the leg here, bring the knee towards you, and just squeeze that knee into the chest. Take a stretch. Good. And then bring that foot back down. Let's take the left up. So same again here, lengthen the leg. Feel the back of those legs open up. And then, doesn't matter which direction you start with, but start with your small circles. Now remember, and I say this every time, that we're not equal, we're not symmetrical. So you might find one side, you've got loads of mobility the other side, it feels a little bit more awkward, a bit more constricted, or just not as comfortable. Maybe you've got a weaker leg, a stronger leg, lots of variables. So just be wary, and this is how we kind of, doing these movement exercises, we're actually having to think a bit about it. It's slower pace, we've got more time for the body to send us messages. We can start to understand our bodies and perhaps where we've got weaknesses that perhaps when we've got a bit of time we can address. Good, now let's change direction. Good, so starting small and getting a little bit bigger. Just to the point where the pelvis, you've got this circle going through the hip, but the pelvis is still stable. Good. Just a couple more circles here. And then pull the knee in. So bring that knee in, have a squeeze, stretch into the hip. Good. Now bring the foot back down. Just send the legs flat to the floor now. The arms overhead and take a full body stretch. Oh, that feels nice. Good. Just opening, lengthening everything up here. And then come back over now. Of course, if we're going to be working on joint mobility, we can't leave the spine out. So hands to the mat here. We're going to start with a bit of movement through the pelvis. So bring your fingers here up onto your pelvis. So your fingers are going to be down towards your pubic bone. Just rest your elbows to the floor. Now from here, I want you to close the gap between your mat and your back here. So your tailbone sort of hides underneath, your pubic bone lifts up towards the ceiling. And then take it the other way. So now you're sending your tailbone down to the floor, and there's a much bigger gap here between your mat. So let your tailbone kind of guide the movement. So hide it away, stick it back out. Now just be careful if you're on a thin mat and a hard floor, you don't bruise your coccyx on the floor. So just take it easy if you've got a hard surface underneath. And try to have it's actually a bit easier to do this laying than standing, because you can really feel the mat underneath you. And you've got more stability through the upper body, so you're less likely to move through the upper body here. So all the movement coming from the pelvis. Now this is probably one of the single most important mobility exercises you can do. You don't need to be a scientist to sort of take a common sense approach that any limited range of movement in this pelvis region is going to create a movement issue, mobility issue between the bottom and top half of the body. So to keep these two connected and working together, we need optimum strength and mobility through this pelvic region. Now bring the hands to the mat here. Next time you draw the tailbone underneath, you're going to press into your feet and start to lift up. Now let's just come up halfway. Oh, forgot to say, take your cushion away if you've got a cushion, otherwise you're just going to end up squishing the neck a little bit. And then roll down. Now, as you roll down, draw in through the core, pull in, suck in here, so that you can really start to open up a little bit here towards the bottom of the thoracic spine, into the lumbar spine here. Now you're never going to open up completely into the bottom of the lumbar spine because you've got some of the vertebra fused, but it just helps to get into that lumbar spine, the bit that isn't fused. Now come back again, tilt, lift. Now watch these knees here, they want to stay tracking in over the hips, so press your big toes in. What happens is we tend to roll out onto the outer edges of the feet as we peel up into bridge. So keep pressing the toes in, and that way you'll keep the knees tracking with the hips, and also you'll activate the inner thighs as well. Inhale as we roll down. Now, if you're quite comfortable with bridge, you're feeling strong and you want a bit more, as you come up, you could lift the arms up here. And then take them all the way back and rest them on the floor behind you. And again, inhale, lower down. So really practicing opening up each vertebra. Now one analogy that us Pilates teachers use when we talk about the spine is that imagine it's a string of pearls. If you were lifting a string of pearls away from the floor, it would be one bead at a time that leaves the floor. So kind of thinking about the spine in the same way to try and encourage you to really roll and take time to articulate each vertebra. So we get so much again out of this one exercise. We activate and strengthen the glutes, the hamstrings, the shoulders, shoulder mobility. Good. And there's lots we can do up in bridge, but for the sake of this being a morning mobility session, we're not going to start doing lots of single knee lifts and things. We'll just take one more bridge here, all the way up. Good, and come back down. Good, well done. Now, if you need just a bit of a stretch here, pull the knees up towards you and hug the knees into the chest. Good, so you can rock from side to side or make small circles just to ease any tension into that lower back. Good, and then we're just going to finish with a little bit of work into the hips. So I want you to bring your feet back hip width here, hands to the floor. Now, bring the feet together, knees together arms a little wider on the mat, and then just let your right knee fall out here. So the left knee's still pointing up. So just opening up into the groin, into the hip here. Good, just relax it down. Let's take a breath in. And as you exhale, kind of try to really relax this hip open a bit more if it's not already close to the floor. Good, and then inhale, bring the knee up to meet the other knee, and then exhale over to the other side here. Good, again, take a breath in, and exhale. Just see if you could get that hip to open a little bit further. And then inhale, bring the knee up, and then this time we're going to open out both the knees. Now turn your wrists up towards the ceiling here. You'll notice your shoulders rolling towards the mat. So we have this real sense of openness, perhaps a little bit of vulnerability, but we're in our own home, so it's fine. Sense of openness in the pelvis and the hips, into the shoulders and the chest, arms wide, shoulders relaxed and down, relax through the abdomen here, and just allow this whole groin area to just open and stretch. Good. And then bring the knees back together. Just step the feet out again, hip width, turn the palms back down, and then just let the knees fall over to the right here, turn your head to the left. So kind of encourage, sort of tease the knees down a little bit here, keep the right shoulder down, left shoulder down, and just try to enjoy that kind of rotation, that stretch here through the body. And if you want a little bit more, bring the arms up here, and again, palms up to the ceiling, elbows in line with the shoulders, and you get this lovely long twist and stretch through the body. Inhale, come back to the center, and exhale, rock over to the other side. That feels like a really nice stretch. Good, let's just take one more to each side here. So just squeezing those knees down a little bit towards the floor. And then all the way back. Good, and then bring the knees up here, bring the arms all the way back, rock the knees over to the side, and then here we press up into a seated position, and your morning mobility is done.